not there before time. Long time got them dirty dam, now you got them concrete road. Long time got them dirty dam, now you got them concrete road. Long time got them dirty dam, now you got them concrete road. Long time got them dirty dam, now you got them concrete road. This time a long time, this time a long time, this not there before time. This time a long time, this time a long time, this not there before time. Long time got them jug lamp, now you got them electric light. Long time got them jug lamp, now you got them electric light. This time a long time, this time a long time, this not there before time. This time a long time, this time a long time, this not there before time. Long time got them broad bottom, now you got them tight straight. Long time got them broad bottom, now you got them tight straight. Long time got them broad bottom, now you got them tight straight. Long time got them broad bottom, now you got them tight straight. This time a long time, this time a long time, this not there before time. This time a long time, this time a long time, this not there before time. Long time got them broad churia, now you got them bamboo jai. Long time got them broad churia, now you got them bamboo jai. Long time got them broad churia, now you got them bamboo jai. Long time got them broad churia, now you got them bamboo jai. This time a long time, this time a long time, this not there before time. This time a long time, this time a long time, this not there before time. Long time full and bucket water, now you got them overhead. Long time full and bucket water, now you got them overhead. Long time full and bucket water, now you got them overhead. Long time full and bucket water, now you got them overhead. This time a long time, this time a long time, this not there before time. This time a long time, this time a long time, this not there before time. This time a long time, this time a long time, this not there before time. This time a long time, this time a long time, this not there before time. Long time got them old man, now you got them young guys. Long time got the old man, now you got them young guys. This time a long time, this time a long time, this not there before time. This time a long time, this time a long time, this not there before.
Pleasant good evening, brothers and sisters. Welcome to Dinesh Jaiprashad show on the 107.1 radio, live, Facebook, and all the avenues that you are tuning into. Special good night again, and it's a pleasure to have you once again so that we can be able to discuss what really is happening in East Berbice currently in Guyana as it relates to politics. Tonight's program is a very special one, and I must say special thanks to 107.1 family for affording me the opportunity to bring to you what really is happening in Berbice and in Guyana. Joining me tonight is a very distinguished individual, someone who is a Berbician and who have served Guyana and other countries well. He is now currently in Guyana to ensure that he give back service and all that is possible so that Guyana can be a very, very productive and a place that we can call home. Brothers and sisters, wherever you are viewing us from, if you are live on radio, thank you, good night, welcome. If you are on Facebook, share the link with someone. Whatever medium you are using, our duty is to share it so that more and more individuals can be tuned in, can be able to listen to what we will say to you. We represent you and we want you to understand what really is happening on the ground. So I must say special words of welcome to my brother, who is, as I indicated, no stranger to Berbice, someone who has been there in the sporting fraternity, in humanitarian, in welfare, and most importantly, a genuine individual who is there to help those who come his way. Welcome, my brother Junior Crawford, to this program, and I know that we will do justice to our viewers tonight. Welcome to you.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Dinesh. How are you doing?
Good, buddy. How was the day?
Well, kind of busy in the background.
Well, as usual. So, brothers and sisters, viewers, listeners, tonight we will touch on some of the things that are happening in Berbice. More so, as to what really is affecting you, the Barbadian. What are the things affecting you as a Guyanese population? And we know that we are not in a position to remedy, but what we will do is to expose what is happening so that when it comes to the next time for you to vote, you will be able to understand who really are the individuals who will represent you at all levels. So I will ask my brother, Mr. Crawford, to say a little bit about himself, and then we will take it from there. Over to you, sir.
Well, Dinesh, I think the audience don't need much of an introduction. I've been around on the platform since the launching, which was 3 years ago, and I'm pretty much well known around some. I do have some haters, but most of it I do have a lot of good, you know, people
Correct.
backing me there.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And that is what we need to do. There are persons who will maybe negatively comment on what we are doing, but it is our duty to spread the message and ensure that it is being delivered, and most importantly, the facts coming out, and people will realize the importance of what is being done. So, my brother, tonight's topic is kind of mixed up. We have a three, four topics, but based on the way how we will take it, we will know how to spare our time. And most importantly, we want to say to the people that we are here to listen to you. Based on what we will discuss tonight, um, or what we will discuss tonight is a reflection as to what is happening in Guyana and what are some of the things can be put in place so that our Guyanese population can be able to live a better life. That is what we want. If we have a better way of life, if we have the necessary resources, there is no need for us to cut and run. But we know that the resources are not coming to our people. That is why people are frustrated and a lot of negative things happening to them. So our first topic for discussion tonight is the situation with this country as it relates to cost of living. Cost of living. You are a businessman. You know what is happening in Barbados. You know what is happening in Region 6. What is your take as to what really is going on as it relates to this high cost of living and the inability to feed family and feed oneself and so forth?
Look, Dinesh, I've been talking about this thing for 3 years now since I got, to come on the front row. It's heartrending to see that our brothers and sisters, regardless of political backing or ethnic choice, I mean, religious choice or ethnic background, cost of living is something that folks that are in that bind are always going to be there because there aren't any help on the way to where we are going to be able to, stem the high rise of cost of living. Yes, you guys are talking about increase of wages and all these things, but the main focus, and I've always been saying this, cost of living must be a front burner. We don't have any system in place where we have price control or quality control, and this is something that was around under Forbes Burnham. And from the late 90s to the 2000s onwards, it seemed like it was on a runaway train where much focus on keeping it on the wraps was not placed there. And this is something that the politician on both sides of the divide must address. And remember, they are representatives of the people. They are not Lord and mighty that they go there and the people's interests are not being taken care of. So we must, as a people, demand our representatives to look into that issue where cost of living will be reduced, and in that way it will assist in keeping families together. It will decrease crime and all these things because it has a ripple effect when monies are needed, people do strange things to survive. And it's
Exactly.
all because we are not holding our elected officials accountable for doing our work. And that's something that a common voter need to understand, that the politicians are not Lord and mighty where we gotta hang mala on their neck or praise them or always at each other's throat because we don't subscribe to a particular politician. They are there to work for us. And anywhere around the world, the politicians are at the mercy of the voters. But in Guyana, the voters
Exactly.
are at the mercy of the politician. So
Correct.
we must, work together as a team to bring some semblance to, plight of the people.
Very, very important. Very important. I must say that a lot of policymakers are not conscious about the rippling effect of this cost of living thing, and I should say that they are conscious and they do not genuinely want to help the people. Because if we cannot food, house, and clothe ourselves, then people will look at alternative as to how to maintain, how to get money, and that brings in to the crime. Mr. Crawford, for the longest while, we have seen an increase in crime and crime-related issues in Berbice, in Guyana. In my area, an old man was chopped up. He went and he drew his pension. The man came home with his money. Another guy went, chop him up, rob him, took the money. Few days ago, a pensioner old lady throat was slit in Rosal um, by someone. We are saying that when people do not have food to feed themselves, they will resort to measures that will want to take things away from others, which is crime. If we put systems in place that people can have a bite and survive, then there is no need for us to, um, be bothered as to, all right, somebody will be coming at our door to collect whatever we have. These persons are pensioners, they're old people. They are supposed to be safe in their homes, in their communities. The community, we all of us are supposed to be there to take care of them, not to, engage in these kinds of activities, causing bodily harm, wounding them, and so forth because of a few dollars. So, to the relevant the agencies, directly to the police force, you need to get on board and try to solve these matters as early as possible. Bring justice to these individuals so that people will see that you're doing your part and do not leave case hanging. There is a situation at always there where individual went missing for a couple of weeks. The police need to get into momentum and try to solve that case. So, Mr. Crawford, the cost of living. Do you think that the people can be able to do things to remedy, or is it the duty of the state to chip in and subsidize and help people with a few bills, light bills, and so forth? What is your take, basically?
The government is responsible into finding a better purchasing prices for things. Really, the subsidy is going to create a bad, what I must say, behavior, because bad habits are easily adopted and it's very hard to break. Now, we can have a one-off
Okay.
yearly oil profit sharing to the citizens of Guyana once you are living here a minimum of 9 months per year. Then you can be entitled to the profit sharing because from the natural resource, which it's all of us. Now, you spoke about the crime. If you notice that crime had gone down under the coalition, and when you go back into the crime spree into this country for the last 35, 40 years, you would see that there's a disturbing trend that a lot of people wouldn't want to accept. When you have a government that is disrespectful towards its citizen. And a government that has individuals in high elected position that are acting recklessly, you find that the population will start to behave the same way as the government. And that is what happens. People start to have disrespect for our elders, disrespect for the weak. And, this is a product of government officials who are not being honest, who are out there doing reckless things on our payroll. And these are the things that would have a rippling effect on the citizens. If you notice the behavior of President Granger, you notice a lot of things subsided. He was a man who carried himself with dignity, and he spoke to the nation with respect, and he reached out to all different factors. We are not seeing that today. So it's easy for people to become disrespectful and be unruly. And it's hard for you to get them back in line, because once you adopt the bad behavior, it's an easy way of life. You're going to want to continue. Our police force need to be much more community orientated, where they can, interact with the citizens of the community, know what's going on, know who the bad apples are, and we need to get them out. Once you're going to disrespect people going about their daily lives, then you don't need to be on the street running around.
Correct.
No, those are people who build, especially the old folks. They're the ones who sweat and build this foundation for us to live on. We must in turn show them respect and love and care, not to brutalize them.
Thank you very much. That is important. It is a point for us to take note of. You made it clearly that our older folks built a foundation for us. It is time that we respect them, honor them, and most importantly, service and protection. So those of us who are in the capacity to do whatever we have to do, we know. I will agree with you, Comrade Crawford, that indeed crime was on a downturn when AP and UAFC was in government. We know piracy went down. Um, Crime generally, all forms of crime, because they were approaching some the citizen security program as it relates to foreign individuals, export coming to help us. But we know that the PPP is not bent into that. They do not want experts to come and to intervene with what is happening, because we know that when people come, they will they will want to know as to what really is happening, find out the situation, the sad situation in the country, and make recommendations. And a lot of persons in public offices do not want outsiders, to the feds and the CIA and the Scotland Yard, to come in and to train our people, because a lot of things will come out. So that is so much on the right track. Um, we know that many of our brothers and sisters went off from Gaisuku, and we know that the PPP promised them that they will um, restart Rosal and Skellen sugar factories as it relates to grinding and employment and so forth. But to date, we have not seen any proper move to stabilize and revitalize the sugar industry in Berbice. About 3 years ago, you made a presentation, you made a powerful recommendation for the government to implement, so that people in Guyana could have engaged and earned themselves a better living situation. Um, I would want you to share that with us tonight, so that brothers and sisters listening who are holding public office, who are close to Gaisuku, who are very much in tune with helping the poor people of this country, can listen to you, so that these recommendations can be put into practice, and we will be able to help those who genuinely help themselves. Over to you, sir.
Well, Dinesh, I've seen that the current administration has taken a cue where they're going to go into fishing in on the closed estates. Now, back then, I mentioned when Noel Holder was the agriculture minister that the closed sugar estates, one, I never agreed with the coalition government to sell the sugar estate lands. It would have been a one-off profit where most of the time that profit disappears, and we would have lost opportunities to reinvest in the communities. My thing was sugar, the way we grow sugar, it was not going to be profitable because I've seen in Louisiana, in Florida, I've never seen a man with a cutlass in a cane field, but I've seen machinery running and it's all gone. They were saying that, oh, Guyanese cane can't plant the way they're planting in the United States. That is not true. They were using cane cutters as a voting block, so they didn't care what it cost them to keep that voting block in their back pockets.
Exactly.
That when the monies that was going into sugar for so many years, it was only there for to get voters on a particular party side. Now, as far as the closed sugar estates, when the coalition and the PPP were closing estates, both of them are guilty of it. They should have gone to diversification, go into cash crops. Food will always be the number one demand in the world. You know the world, they're claiming it's overpopulated and there aren't enough food to feed the people. Instead of closing the estates, to cash crops, go to fishing. The canals, are very familiar with the canals. They're very clean. They're deep. We could have a killing in the Caribbean, North America, even to Africa, to supply with food. Instead, a sugar worker normally works about 6 months a year. My thing was back then, you will not make the weekly money that you're making cutting cane and destroying your body, but you will have a longer employment with a little less salary, and you as an individual would live and look better because you're not going to be under the strain breathing all those dirty dust and whatever.
Correct.
They didn't do it. Now the PPP is back in regards of fear of all means, and they're having people who are looking into ideas and bringing it back to their main folks, and they're going to jump on it when we had an opportunity ourselves to do that for the people. Mangoes sell in the United States every single day. Watermelon, squash, cabbage, lettuce, tomatoes, lemon, lime, peaches. All those are things that we can produce here in abundance, and we can go green where we can back away from heavy fertilizer, and we will have demand for our products. Missed opportunities. I do hope that the politicians elected on both sides of the floor come together with a plan where it won't take that long for us to start producing these things. So the whole country would benefit. They will have more employment, open up package factories. So female will have employment, and have packaging factories in right along the coast. Fishing, we can have different varieties of fish. We can bring in fishes that people from around the world would appreciate to have. We can separate these things. They don't have to mix up, and so we have a problem. But for some strange reason, it was shut their estates. The workers go home. They become disgruntled, and when you don't have a happy nation, you're gonna have problems in your hands. Then
Correct.
it goes crime to survive because they can't do book work. There aren't any jobs comparable to what they're capable of doing. So they're gonna, resort to foul means.
Thank
So
you very much.
another thing that I had mentioned,
So said, right?
chickens, pork, pigs. If you go out in Ohio and see the amount of pig farm there, we could have been competing with these folks. And remember, they have to deal with some parts of the United States have to deal with the bad weather. We have rain and sun 365 days a year. Do you know how much we could be able to compete out there and take care of our citizens? And for some strange reason, I really can't understand a government in office. All you have to do is take care of the citizens, and you don't have to worry about being in power. Why must we be vindictive to a particular group of people because they don't subscribe to us? Take care of every citizen, and once the citizens are happy, the country will go on automatic. But
Right.
we are always trying to cut somebody's throat because they didn't like us, they don't look like us, they don't subscribe to the same religion. It's just a bunch of nonsense.
Understand. Thank you very much. Very important points. I do hope that viewers, you're taking some note, and if you can, mental memory will not be enough. You need to um, go back and listen to what Mr. Crawford had just indicated to us. This is basically ensuring that all those individuals who were sent home, who were off the industry, gets a permanent job. And for many of us, what he is saying might not resonate at the moment. But at Gaisuku, you are there working for 6 months. And now the alternative plan that he is proposing here, Minister for Agriculture, we need to take note of this. It will be good for you to engage individuals like these so that we can be able to put a proposal on the table so that our brothers and sisters out there can benefit. Diversification. We know long before 2015, long before 2010, sugar was going down. PPP very much knowledgeable about this. Good. Why can't we say to the people, we will maintain you in terms of having a job. You might not make the money that you used to make, but you will not work the strenuous job that you used to do. It will be an easier something. You engage in fishing, planting, or livestock in the same area, the same field. And we do it in such a large scale that one, we feed ourselves with Barbies. We feed our strong. We export. And in doing this, we can be able to maintain, sustain, and most importantly, live a very, very good life. Um, I like the comparison and the scenario that you're bringing from the United States, which these people have season. Every 4 months is a different, every 3 months is a different climate, is a
Right.
different thing for them. Yet these individuals there can produce and feed us, feed most of the Caribbean, feed part of the African continent. And they're just having a 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, let's say 6 months of time that they can plant and harvest and transform into food for us. We have 365 days of rain and sun that is very much applicable for us to make a proper living. It comes back to vision, my brother. It comes back to leadership. Um, you made mention about politicians wanting to do this so that they will stay in power and grab the. No, it comes back to leadership. If you ensure that the people set okay and they are surviving and they are happy, you will always remain. You didn't put it that way, but these guys probably got to break it down for them. If the people are happy, then you will remain there for the next term and the other term or whatever. But when you try to rob them
Yeah.
their dues, and when you try to rob them the natural resources that they sweat and their parents and grandparents sweat for, then it is very, very bad for us as a nation. Um, Tonight, this topic in particular was never exhausted that much in this way. That is why when you indicated that this is very important, I said that probably you will bring a different slant to it. But the way how you put it here, the Minister for Agriculture needs to listen to this program, and I know his workers might be listening too. Um, Refer this program to the minister so that we can have some form of diversification, and it means then that we will be able to give people income, and more so we will be able to make people very very happy. um I see that Mr. Crawford is off here because probably technical difficulties or the internet or maybe blackout. But I want to say, brothers and sisters, we have experiencing a series of blackouts for the past weeks. um People are saying that the same old PVP coming back. But I want to say to the minister for an infrastructure, the ministers basically, please, sir, please, we are appealing to you. We are appealing to you, Minister for Public Works, Infrastructure. We are paying for a service. It is our duty to receive the service. You need to put systems in place so that we will not have breaches. If you are paying for a service, let it be there. Too many people depend on the power to do their daily activities. Teaching is online. People are here in Guyana and they are connected with another university across the world, and they need the power to use and to connect and to get involved in the educational quest. Mr. Crawford, I was saying that we have been experiencing so much of power outages that some students studying abroad via the scholarships program are complaining that they do not have standby generator, they do not have the solar backup, and they depend on the GPL so that they can log on to their classes overseas, and they are not having that justice. We are paying for a service. If United States get blackout for an hour, that is big trouble. I have never gone there, but I was
Me,
told that. What is your
you will
take on that?
have- Look,
Pardon me?
we need to ensure that our learning institution, we have uninterrupted power there and internet service. We are now an oil producing country. Why not retrofit all university and the learning centers with solar? So if the power is out on the GPL, then it automatically switches to the solar. There are things like that. They don't cost that much. I mean, granted, when the government buys something, the cost for it is 20 times more than what you and I would pay for some strange reason. But we are not demanding that that service, basic service for our younger generation, because again, the reason why our politicians behave this way is because we as a nation are divided. You for that and I for that. And that's not the way to go. If the people are united in their drives to have services and goods delivered, we would have a different attitude from the elected leaders, because they would know if you don't deliver, you're going to be out. But too often we are selling ourselves short because of ethnicity or racism or blind loyalty, or plainly not wanting to investigate and learn or improve ourselves, that we are important blocks in our future. We just leave it up. They're saying, hey, we are small people, what can we do? Yes, every single vote counts, and it makes a difference. So once we are interested in our future and our children, we will start to look at things differently. Sometimes you have to cross the divide to get things done. You may not want to, but my father used to say, let's take the less of two evils.
Said a mouthful there. That's very, very, very informative. Um, we need as a people, brothers and sisters, wherever you are. This program here is not to bash anyone. It is to bring remedy and solution to what we are faced with as a nation. For too long, we have been voting like my father or my grandfather. For too long, we have been looking at our color of the skin and texture of our hair and religion and all these things, and we put our eggs. Those are not applicable to your survival in terms of who governs you. Policy, who will put a better standard of living for you, that is what you need to go with. And we know that a lot of people are coming on board in terms of actual reasoning because they know that we have had some situation prior 2015, and now again the people are saying, Mr. Crawford, the people are saying that you can fool me once and twice but not again. So we know that there are some politicians who will come and say, we're going to build a stadium for you in Palmyra. We have about 30 grounds in this region. 30 grounds. This is not we are not including like restruct that what you have. We are talking about cricket grounds. This is cricket grounds alone. No football ground, no volleyball ground, no restruct. And the only ground that we can say that we can access probably is Albion to hold something. I don't think it is suitable for international cricket and so. But we have about 30 grounds in Region 6.
I
And
didn't hear
then
you.
I said probably
Alvin.
Albion,
Uh-huh.
right?
And you said it wasn't suitable?
Yeah, probably it is not suitable because for
Well,
international cricket now,
maybe you're too young. Do
could
you
be.
know do you know
I was
that
told. I was told. I was
do
told.
you
I was not there.
know international cricket?
Yes, I was told that.
Albion is the perfect place to develop. We don't need a stadium. We have Albion there. We have estate lands there that could build hotels. The thought of building a private hospital is ridiculous, disrespectful, and the supporters of this current administration must demand that it does not happen. Simply, we have Skeldon, we have Portmore, we have New Amsterdam. They don't have the necessary medical.
Yes, they do not have the necessary
Are not
medical.
the
Yeah, yeah. Skellen, New Amsterdam, Portland, and Blackbush do not have the necessary facilities to perform all the things that we would want to be engaged with. Why is it that we are bringing a private institution to charge money, uh, and we have these public facilities to offer free service? I'm saying, but yes,
right?
go.
As I was saying, now why not demand that our regional hospitals are fully staffed and properly staffed?
Correct.
Two, when you're looking to build a stadium, you already did that foolishness with Providence, right? Where are the people going to find monies to go and support the stadium and the malls? You, instead of building the stadium, build package factories, build other stuff that people could find employment. They're setting people up for a failure because now you have to resort to bad behavior to find monies to go to the mall because it's anybody knows it's a novelty. You're going to want to go there. Now, things obviously going to be a little bit more pricey than the regular stores. So what are you
Correct.
going to do to get the money to purchase? So you're pushing the people to do wrong things to support a foolish idea. The people must demand that we have work or proper facilities like you have mentioned earlier. The electricity problem and the internet problem with the learning institutions. We want packaging factories for our females to work. We need to, bring back more programs where students in school able to learn art and craft, cooking, sewing. These are things that we did in primary school. We also did some of the stuff in high school, but now is
Correct.
things are gone away. So you're not setting up people for a better future because everything now is purchase, purchase. So everybody's become, lazy in the sense where if I want something, I'm just going to go buy it. People don't
Right.
want to cook like before. So we are seeing a change in our culture and it's dangerous. Now, you know, the time that they're talking about building these things, if you look, Berbice has primarily voted PPP, but yet the Berbice Bridge was sitting at $2,200. Who you think were they milking? Their own supporters.
Exactly.
Now, do you really think those people really like you? When the Demerara Bridge was only at $100 for so many years. So if these people sit and analyze who they're supporting somebody to strangle their
Own
lives.
support. Mhm.
So does it make sense? Why would I want to be around with somebody who is going to milk me, who's going to make me suffer more? And if they had realized under the PPP, everything was centralized. Who were the business people who needed to do business? The PPP supporters. They had to traverse all the way to Georgetown when it could have been done in Berbice. Again, who was milking who? It's the very people that they were supporting, yet they can't see that they were supporting a group of people who didn't care a goddamn about them. It's about getting the money out. So they're giving you an incentive to go and work. You work like slaves. You put back the money right in their pocket. It's like highway robbery. So it's time now for you to leave. You may not want the coalition, but single meaning of a coalition is coming together. It means everybody has a voice, regardless of religion, race, or creed or ethnicity, or whatever the case may be. So being with this institution is pushing us backwards and is dividing us as a people. And more so, the international folks are taking advantage of our division. And if you think I'm lying, go down and walk the streets from Soesdijk to Georgetown, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night. And you'll see the composition that's on the street. It's a dangerous trend that we are not paying attention to. And we, in turn, it's going to have a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have a depressed nation. And when you're depressed, you are not going to be productive as a people. Because we supported the wrong set of elected people. We can do
Correct.
better. We just need to be smarter.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Viewers, 107.1 family, I know that you are enjoying tonight's program because based on the comments coming in, we are here to bring the facts. I must say that Mr. Crawford has been doing justice for us so long, and he put it in a way that if policy makers and policy enforcers are listening to tonight's proposal, Guyana can be a better place. Gaisuku can be a better place. Cost of living can be minimized. It will not happen overnight. But if these recommendations are put into our Guyanese context and test for 2, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, we will see development, we will see changes. Looking at the Gaisuku situation, all three estates can be in operational, not for cane alone, but a diversification. Imagine we have 10,000 plants of balanji, 20,000 plants of watermelon, 500,000 plants of pak choy or white fruit, as we would say. These are fields and fields of produce will come out within 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 2 months. We start harvesting in 2 months. Minister for Agriculture, President, Vice President, Prime Minister, we are proposing something to you tonight. The people needs to improve their lifestyle. The government is responsible for doing that. If you take 5,000 individuals now and say, here, what happened? Let us try this at Skellen, or let us try this at Kanji, Rosal Estate. And you try it for 2 months and you do not see progress and growth and development and the ability to sustain, then we squash it. But do not hold the people hand to mouth and give them a hamper here and there and say you care for them and you want them to be happy. If we put this into place, and this will not cost us $1 billion. To start the process, we have given to Gaisuku so much of billions already. If we take 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 billions more and we say that we're going to go alternative, we will maintain some cane, we will do other things. If we start to mine fish, whatever variety, the expert will say that. I'm not an expert, but whatever variety we mine, after 2 months, 3 months, and we start to produce, it means then that we will supply to so many other countries. This is what Mr. Crawford is talking about tonight. He's no stranger to worries. Yes, you can go before.
Look, now that we have found oil, what we should be doing, and I've said it before, back in 2019, agriculture should always be Guyana's #1 industry. Gold, oil, everything comes behind that. We should use the proceeds from these other natural resources to make sure that we have a vibrant agricultural system and an output where we will always be in demand for our goods. People will always have to eat.
Exactly.
We have enough land to be a superpower when it comes to agriculture. We have the climate. We are a land of many waters. We can't say we can't get irrigation going. You know, this thing about oil producing nation is getting to a lot of people's head where they're looking at quick money. We should use the oil money very, very carefully to ensure a proper agricultural program so our country could be up there in the long term. What happens if the oil only lasts for 20 years? What happened to our grandkids? We have the opportunity as a member of CARICOM and other international bodies. We will have market for our products. We can ensure that we have proper products out there, and like Mr. Green said, be the breadbasket of the Caribbean and other places. It's not impossible. It's not that hard. The state lands for the sugar estate must be retained and not sold. And that is where we could re-employ back our people. Who wants to cut cane? That's by choice. But there are other parts of the estate that you can work. Like I said, you can work 11 months and give them a month vacation. They will not make the salary as they're making now. I don't know what a cane cutter makes now, if it's 35 or whatever. But it's better to have something constant across the board. Because you and I both know when there's out of crop, all the cane cutters run up a bill at all the little stores
Correct.
because there's not enough employment. And we have to sit down and think about our people, not to think that we must be a set of domineering elected leaders. The people need to start to look in themselves in the mirror and say, wait,
Okay.
am I getting services and goods from this person that I support? Yes or no? If it's no, we need to move away from supporting that person. You have to
Correct.
make hard choices to have benefits in society.
Thank you. Thank you. Viewers, listeners, wherever you are, there you have heard Mr. Junior Crawford, very well known, prominent individual in Berbice. Um, he's the son of the late Marshall Crawford, a wonderful legal counsel, senior counsel, who have made his mark in Guyana. Um, Sir, thank you very much for tonight's contribution. Indeed, as a member of parliament, I will be trying to put some pen to paper so that what you share with us tonight can be something that can be tabled for the Guyanese population. I want to ask you that if it is possible, we can try to make some arrangement for next week so that you can bring a few more suggestions to the Ministry of Agriculture so that we can take a systematic approach in terms of feeding our people, sustaining our people, and having a good life. Um, I know we are approaching program time, so, sir, any closing remark? 1 minute.
Yes, there's something that I would have liked to touch on was the roads in our region. I guess another time, if I am invited back on the program, we could talk about the despicable condition that our roads are in. Also, the need to increase freshwater fishing because we have now seen what has happened out in the ocean. And also, we would like to talk about the fishing license situation that
Inshallah.
our Guyanese fishermen are facing. I think it's somewhere around 4,000 US dollars. So that if I'm back any other time, I guess we'll touch on it. And in the meantime, we will keep an eye and see how things are progressing, if it's going for the worse or the better in the agriculture sector, as well as the security for Region 6 and also for the cost of living.
Thank you. So coming up, thank you very much, my brother. And I know that next week we will be, if all goes well, we will be back live next week. So coming up straight now is straight up with Mark Benskop. Brothers and sisters, viewers, listeners, thank you. See you next week. Good night, my brother.
This ain't a long time, this ain't a long time, this not a before time. This ain't a long time, this